Hi and welcome! Let's build a tab menu system. This is probably much simpler than you might expect. We will begin with setting up the scene, go over the required code to link pages to tabs, and make sure our selection stays visibly highlighted even when we click away. We start in the editor. I have a dedicated canvas for my tab menu and create a child element to hold it. After sizing it as I need it, if you need a refresher on anchors, I have a tutorial on those, I create two more child objects, one for tabs, the other for pages. The tab container will be stretched along the top edge of the menu container by clicking on the anchoring menu, holding Shift and Alt, then picking this one up here. You pick the correct one if your rect transform switches from pause X and width to left and right. I set its height manually to 100. That will be the height of each tab inside of it. Attach a horizontal layout group to it, and if you want to get the same style of tabs I have, allow it to control and force the child size on both axes. Switch over to the pages container and make it fill the entire parent container by again clicking on the anchoring menu, holding Shift and Alt, then clicking on the button on the lower right corner. This would now overlap our tabs, which we don't want. The solution is to add a margin to the top. Simply add a number equal or larger than the height you gave your tab bar. I'll go with this because I want to give it a bit of space between pages and tabs for a more modern look. Go back to the tab container and create an image child object. It will stretch the whole width of the container if you followed my setup. Give it a TextMesh Pro child element or image child element, whatever fits your game the best. As a general rule, if you only ever need one thing from a group to be active, toggles are made for the job. Thus, attach a toggle component to the tab and a toggle group component to the tab container. The page can really be whatever you need. For simplicity's sake, I just created a new image child object to the pages container and a bit of text. Important here is that you attach a canvas group component to the page. We will not toggle on or off pages because a deactivated game object won't listen to events, and it's terribly easy to forget about that. Instead, we will manually handle setting the alpha value, interactability, and raycast blockiness through our script. Duplicate the pages and toggles so that you have an equal amount of both in your tab menu. Then let's head over to Writer. The code is rather straightforward. We show the page index value in our inspector so that we can page through the system by simply changing the number, even when the game is not running. Next come three references to the toggle group, all our toggles, as well as all of our pages. Since we might want to inform other areas of our project about changes to our menu, like I do with the background images here, we can use a Unity event with an int parameter to do so. If you don't care about seeing it in the inspector, you can just use a normal event action for this. We start by initializing everything, which means we have the script set itself up for us. It looks for the toggle group, clears all the tabs and pages, then adds all toggles and canvas groups it finds in its children to the dedicated lists. This too is a reason why I prefer using components like canvas groups over simple game objects. It's much easier to target exactly what I need for cases like this. We will call this method in two places: reset, which gets called exactly once when you attach the script to the game object in the editor, as well as in onValidate, which will make it easier for us to test the system even while not in play mode. OnValidate will also handle opening the requested pages based on its index, as well as toggle the corresponding toggle to on. It does not really matter if you use the set is on without notify here, or if you use the simpler is on. Since this is just being called in the inspector, it won't fire any events anyway. However, I tend to forget about handy methods like this if I don't use them from time to time, so I'm going this route. In Awake, we add a listener for check for tab and assign the toggle group. OnDestroy simply removes the listener again. The next short three methods are the heart of the system. Check for tab is called whenever the isOn value of a toggle changes. It checks which toggle sent the message, assigns its position to the page index, then opens the page. Because we use a toggle group, we know that only ever one toggle can be set to on. OpenPage takes the index and starts by ensuring it is in range, which it should be if we are just using the system in-game, but we could always enter a value outside of the entries in our list in the inspector. Afterwards, it goes through every page in our list and does the following. It checks if the currently processed page is the one we want to open. We know this if the I value is equal to the page index. Then it will handle the canvas group settings. It sets the alpha to 1 or 0 based on if it is the active page, then handles interactability and blocks raycastiness based on our bool as well. If our application is playing, we will then invoke the event to notify those who want to know about any changes. If you leave out this check, your console will tell you that events won't be called outside of edit mode over and over and over again. Our range check first checks if we actually have tabs and pages to work with, then clamps the value between 0, our first entry in the list, and the amount of pages we have. Lastly, we might want to control from the outside which page is being displayed. For this, we have this super simple public method that takes the page number, ensures it is in range, then simply toggles the isOn value to true. Because every toggle is part of the toggle group, only one will ever be set to active, and since we have methods listening in on the change of this value, we don't have to do anything else. Save the script, then head back to the editor. Attach it to the menu component. You can already see it has set itself up as required. While you enter play mode and wait for the loading bar to fill, how about clicking like and subscribe if you enjoyed the tutorial this far? At this point you can click through your tabs without issue, but there is one thing you might curse about. The tabs are highlighted when clicked, but if you interact with anything else on the screen, or just simply click somewhere else, that highlight fades away. That's a major headache that you can fix with just a few lines of code. Start by adding an image child element to the toggles. You can just add it to the first one and delete the rest. The tab menu system will automatically fill itself again when you duplicate it. This image should stay behind the texts or images you have on the tab and stretch its full width. Again, click here, hold Shift and Alt, then pick the one down here. Don't waste time on changing its color. Instead, go back to your code and create a new script. This one is called Toggle Highlight Stays Active After Losing Focus, because names like that are awesome. Give it references to the toggle itself and the image you just added. Reset fills out the toggle, however, due to how your toggle could be set up, we can't simply default to having it grab the image reference on itself. That's the only thing we will have to fill in manually. In Awake, we add a listener to onToggleValueChanged and call it once to get the correct visual feedback from the start. OnDestroy removes the listener, of course. Lastly, onToggleValueChanged checks if our focus image is null. If it is not, we simply change its color based on its isOn state. For that, we use the toggle color's highlighted color as the on value and the clear color as the off value. Return to the editor, attach the script to the tab, and link up the image. Then duplicate the tab a few times to match your page's count again. If you check back on the tab menu, you can see the new objects have already been added to the list. Start play mode and give it a test. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, I have dozens more on the Unity UI system and some written guides over on my itch page too. Have a great week!